All right, now it is time for the next part to add color to our flower. So in order to add the color, I'm going to use my original photo. I'm going to open that up and I'm going to use my eyedropper and I'm going to pull color from the original photo. You can use any colors, but I'm going to start off using colors from here. I'm not going to use the blue, but I'm going to maybe sample the pink that I see in there. So your color sampler is on the left-hand side on your toolbar. It should be hidden under your crop tool. If you can't see it, you're going to go to your eyedropper tool and I'm going to click on the color that I want. Notice wherever I click, it's going to sample and it will actually change in the different values. So I'm going to click on that like pinkish, purplish sort of color. And then I'm going to click on my flower. I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to paint on that new layer. So then I'm going to go to my brush tool and I'm going to choose the type of brush I want. I'm going to use a soft edged brush. I'm going to make it slightly bigger using my bracket tools. And I'm going to start painting. And you don't have to worry too much right now about getting in the lines because remember this is kind of like watercolor and you can use your blending options in order to change the look of the color and kind of blend it in. And then I'm also going to use my opacity. I'm going to do the same thing with the next one. I'm going to paint it with the opacity already on. And then, you can go in and I'm going to sample another color. For each color that I sample, I'm going to add a new layer. And I'll go back to my original picture. This time I'm going to sample the center, that little yellow. And then I'm going to go back and I'll add a little bit of yellow to that stem or the center. And then I don't think there's any right there that I can see. I'm going to change the opacity of that. Control 0 to fit back to screen. And then I am going to go back again and now I'm going to do the stem and I'm just going to keep adding color until I've like how the color is and I'm ready to move on. So keep adding those layers, keep adding the color. You can add darker colors. If there's a color that's not in the flower, you know that you can click on your foreground background and you can choose a color and then you can choose a value from the color picker. And you just press OK. And then that is the color that is in the foreground that you're going to be using. So you can look over on the left-hand side. I added some more colors, some darker colors, blended them. Now I want to use those brushes that you downloaded. So if you did not download them, make sure you go to the link that I gave you, download them from Drive, and then you're going to go to File and you're going to go to Open, double click on that folder with the brushes where it says watercolor zip. It will load those brushes. And then when you go over to your brushes and you click on that little arrow, you're going to see a whole bunch of different, I kind of call them like blob brushes. They're like different types of watercolor splotches. When I use these brushes, and again, this is all preference for you. You can do it how you want. I've selected like a complementary color. And I'm going to add some of this yellow to my flower. You can change the size of your brush, these blob brushes, by, again, using your bracket tool. So you can make some big, you can make it really small. You can also change the angle of your brush. So if you click on your brushes over on the right, I'm going to show you where you can change that. Right here. You can change the size, but you can also change the angle. So I can change, you can see down at the bottom, it's showing you how it changes that angle. See right there. You can change the roundness. So see how it's changing the direction, and then the spacing, that would be how far apart it's going to be. So I'm actually going to make this kind of big. I'm going to add this to my flower. You can click on the little arrows right here to get rid of that. Control 0 to fit back to screen. And I am going to add a new layer and bloop. And then I'm going to go to my opacity, change my opacity, go Control 0. I'm going to make a much bigger one here. Here. Change your blending options. And maybe I'll go right here. Then I can get another brush and you can choose another color. So here, this is kind of like the drippy type brush. Can go in my foreground background color, choose a color that I want. Maybe I'm going to do something a little bit darker. And you just keep going and adding colors and blending until you like the way it looks. And then when we're completely finished, we will print it on some watercolor paper. So let's see what this looks like. See what this color, some drip right here. Make it bigger. All right, so again, you also can get your eraser because you've been creating this on different layers. You can see I have a lot of different colors that I have placed on here. So that's about it. When you're finished, save it as a JPEG, save it as a Photoshop file as well, in case you want to go back and do anything else to it. And when we're completely finished, we're going to save it as a Photoshop file, or I'm sorry, save it as a JPEG, and we're going to print it on watercolor paper. So have fun.